October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and a new cybersecurity law in Connecticut is providing protections from lawsuits for businesses that step up their security. So joining us now to break that all down is Dave Bykowski from the cybersecurity firm Kessler Corporation in Glastonbury. Dave, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thanks. Happy to be here.
Of course. So just to get things started here, can you give us some more background on this law, where it came from, and what exactly does this cover here?
Well, at a federal level, there have been more and more efforts to improve cybersecurity across the country. It's obviously a threat to our nation. Connecticut has provided incentives to companies where if they follow certain prescribed or approved frameworks, such as NIST cybersecurity framework, PCI DSS for companies that process credit cards, high trust for healthcare firms, or a number of other frameworks that are out there. This provides protections for those companies in the event of a breach against punitive damages. And as we know, punitive damages can really crush a company in court.
And we talk about this framework that these companies have to follow. What does that look like now under this new law? What did it look like before? What does this mean to you and me as the average consumer of products and stuff like that? How does this protect us?
Well, for us, it provides incentives for companies to really step up their game and put in increased protective measures, be able to put better defenses around protecting company information. And since so many companies will handle personal identifiable information, or PII, that's really going to help protect our identities as well. So companies really have incentive to spend the extra money that it takes to reduce their risk in the event that something happens and to help improve protections for the average consumer.
And on the other side of this, what happens if a company does not have the right cybersecurity measures in place, this framework in place?
Well, we've heard all sorts of breaches in the news, and we can expect that those sorts of things are going to continue. Unfortunately, cyber criminals, they aren't going anywhere. They aren't going away. They're probably just only going to step up their game. And what that means is for companies that choose not to follow that, they run the risk of having a breach, impacting their business, and should an investigation demonstrate willful or wanton negligence, they could be subject to hefty compensatory and punitive damages.
And this law, definitely a big step here in Connecticut. Does this follow the federal government's lead or other states' lead? Where do we stand in terms of, other states that have implemented something like this?
Most other states haven't really implemented it. I think the first one I'm familiar with was Ohio back in 2018. I think it's inspired by moves at federal level where President Biden has issued an executive order for ramping up cybersecurity measures across the country. But Connecticut's definitely a leader when it comes to state by state in this area.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And just to wrap things up here, you mentioned it before, but it seems like every day we're reporting on these stories, hacks, phone companies, other companies as well. What can the average person, you or me, do to kind of increase our own cybersecurity at home and make sure we're protected?
Yeah, that's really good to think about there. And we have a number of tips that we've put out throughout the month on social media. You can find Kessler on Twitter or on LinkedIn. We've had a cybersecurity tip of the day. A few of them in particular that I like are, number one, to be particularly careful when using public Wi-Fi. It isn't necessarily unsafe, but you are running a little bit more of a risk. Maybe it would be a good idea to be a little more careful as far as what kind of transactions you do there. Maybe secured financial transactions run a little higher risk of possibly being a little bit less secure and an attacker getting some of your information. Also, make sure you tighten up your own personal Wi-Fi network, especially for all of us who are working at home. Make sure you have a password, and a really good password and good encryption on your wireless router, and all of the things for you to go and work from home, because you don't want to put company information at risk while working during these times. Additionally, just protect your information, watch your email, and when looking at emails, if something just doesn't look right or seem right, don't click that link, don't follow. Make sure to go and reach out to the person who sent you the email and say, hey, did you really send this? Because unfortunately, cyber criminals are getting smarter and smarter. They're getting better control of English language, and what we were used to seeing as obvious phishing emails now really are a lot harder to spot. So just take that extra moment and always be vigilant.
There you go, David. Thank you so much for joining us. Lots of important stuff to consider, especially considering that a lot of people are still working from home. We appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.